Before we get on the show, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Sunday Show podcast presented by the Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Pro Pels Talk, located at 918 Poydras Street by the Superdome. Give them a call at 504-523-5413 if you or someone you know has been involved in an accident. The Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Pro Pels Talk 5. Chris Lito in the building tonight. I'm excited about this show. First off, Chris and Lito, y'all had an incredible show last night. I like to see that y'all are out of character now. Chris, we're going to start with you right off the bat. Herb or Trey? Who's in the starting lineup?
Who's in the starting lineup, or who do I want to be in the starting lineup?
Oh, wait, that's a good one. Let's go. Who do you want to be in the starting lineup first?
So it's funny because we were having this discussion in the group chat, and you see it all on the timeline. And unfortunately, in debates, we have this. There's a part of the community that looks at it as if you're picking one, you saying you disrespecting the other. Yeah. And that's really, that's really not the case. I mean, I think my job, my life, my thought process is about making life easier for the two guys that you invested in running it back with, and Brandon and Zion. And it's not to say that Herb doesn't make their life easier, because if you watch how unselfish he is and some of the things that he can provide you when you allow him to get the basketball, he's wonderful in transition, and we know what he can do defensively. But no matter what, especially with where we're at with the center position, teams they're gonna live with leaving Herb Jones open at the three. That's just the way that it is. Now, if you're telling me that you are going to be more creative with how you use said Herb and whoever the fifth individual is, then maybe it's different. But for me, it just makes the most sense to put Trey Murphy on the floor. I feel like if you ask Brandon and Zion and CJ, they would tell you put Trey Murphy on the floor. Simply from shooting, simply from what space can, get that space astronaut. Simply for what you can do from a spacing perspective. And I'm just like, we just talking basketball, right? So to me, if I'm simply running a pick and roll at the top of the key, I don't care if Zion's the ball handler or Brandon's the ball handler, right? If I'm running a pick and roll at the top of the key and I have CJ on one wing and I have Trey on the other, or CJ in one corner and Trey on the opposite corner, like, I live with those results. The defense is the one that has to make the decision. There's no easy answer there. You know what I'm saying? I just think making their lives easier, the best way to do that. I understand the issues that you're going to run into on defense, but Herb can't fix everything on the defense anyway, because you have other question marks that are on the floor. I think the answer should be Trey Murphy, even if I think it will be Herb Jones.
Wow, that's interesting. Welcome all the kids to the show as well. Lito,
hey.
let you have that one after Chris. What he just said.
After the guy with the misleading show name. Yo, listen, this is an easy answer for me, and it is nothing to do with disrespecting another player. I love Herb Jones to death. I love everything Herb Jones brings, but you absolutely have to start Trey. And I go back to the last 5 games of the season. You got 19, 17, 30, 31, 20. Also, I like to point out that at a point last season, I think Trey was averaging, I think in the last 15, he averaged 19 a game, and he was shooting like 40 from 3, something crazy like that. So when Trey's presented the opportunity to get minutes, he has shined. Like, he's shined at every avenue, presented to him. And the thing about him is, you want him in a game when you have Brandon and Zion on the floor. Like, granted, the starting thing, honestly, is a minuscule debate, because it's really about who's closing and it's about who's on the floor together, right? But to have Trey start the game with Zion getting the attention he gets, with Brandon getting the attention that he gets, CJ getting the attention that he gets, right? You got to space it. I mean, this dude was shooting shit from the logo basically last season. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was shooting like 35% of those shots from that far away. So I really don't even see how it's a question, but I do agree with Chris that it's not about who I want to start. It's about who will they start? Like, I feel like we know what the answer is, but like, will you do that thing? I don't know.
So I wanted to get to five. I'll let you, because I wanted to ask you this question. I don't even know your choices. What are you pointing at? You're muted. I don't know what you're pointing at. What did I do?
Spaceman tripping.
No, Spaceman not tripping. It's okay. It's okay. Just keep going. Just pause.
So five. They talk about Trey Murphy, and listen, Trey's very deserving of a starting spot. My question is, okay, if you go CJ, Trey, Brandon, Zion, whoever you want at the 5, you got no top tier defender. Is that something that's a problem to start the game off?
Can I answer right here?
Yeah, that's
that leads me to my answer, is because defense is really not like this overblown thing in the NBA. Like, the Pelicans were 6th in the NBA defensive efficiency. They didn't make the playoffs. Okay. My thing is, I'm a big defensive guy. I like Herb, right? Matisse Thybulle made the all defensive team as coming off the bench. Like, it's still possible. So Herb can still, make the all defensive team and come off the bench. It's okay. I mean,
how did he do that though? How did he do that? Because
let me tell you how. He plays on the team where a guy like a Joel Embiid plays almost every night and puts up good numbers, so people see him. It's in Philly, right? Like, oh, that guy's amazing. He's great on defense. You telling me Matisse is better defender than Herb? I'd say no. I ain't being biased. I think he's a better defender. So for a guy like Herb, I think it's probably conducive for the team for him to come off the bench. To be honest, I would still wish he started over another guy, but maybe we want to get in that conversation. I would rather Herb and Trey start. But
wait, hold up before you get to that, because that's going to be part of the show. I'm glad you brought that up. I don't want to talk about it right now, but I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
Because it's an interesting stat. But Chris, let me pull this up. Let me pull this graphic up for you. Trey Murphy as a starter, he's played 66 games. He's averaged 15.4 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 1.4 assists. I think he's shooting around like 42-43%. For a guy like Trey Murphy, who we know is built on confidence, when that dude is confident, he is going to shoot from very far out. Not bad, right? 5, not bad. He's going to shoot the ball from very far out.
Almost from outer space, right?
Almost from outer space. I was going to say pull. Chris, do you think that him starting gives him a confidence booster? Rather than coming off the bench?
Maybe. I think Trey's wired mentally to where he's gonna feel confident no matter what setup he's in, and he's gotten an opportunity in his young career having different roles, whether it be off the bench or whether it's starting. So I don't think from a confidence perspective, you're really looking at a change, especially if we know he's going to he's going to be a part of the closing group, right? I mean, I don't think that's a question. I think Trey will be fine regardless. I mean, we're talking about getting the best out of the two guys that you invested in running it back on. And for some folks, that I won't say a majority, but I would say, at least 30% of fans are uncomfortable with, either one or both of the individuals and just believing that they're going to be healthy or how committed they are to the game and being able to be healthy. I mean, you're looking at a pessimistic group, and the history say that these two dudes are not going to play a bunch of games together. But here's this part of it that I think is interesting that isn't talked about enough. I don't think Brandon and Zion haven't played enough games yet together. Like, they've looked their best away from each other, right? Mm-hmm. Brandon's best, the best that we've seen him play, Zion hasn't been involved. the best that we've seen Zion play, Brandon hasn't been involved. We haven't even figured out how to get the best two versions of themselves connected, like with those two being healthy and playing together. Brandon's on the floor, he has the basketball, Zion's in the post, he's in the corner. Nah, there's a better way to do it, right? The point, Zion isn't used as much or hasn't been used as much with him on the floor, and we haven't gotten a chance to see it with some of the hopeful, a guy like Trey and some of the spacing options and CJ and Trey to really see what it could all work in. Like making their lives easier would be, that's my thought, including CJ. And while those two guys have to work out whatever kinks or chemistry or rust or just figuring out how to work together as a tandem, why not just make their lives easier and space the hell out of the floor even more by putting the dude that's going to shoot 40% and has to be guarded 30 feet away from the basket?
Can I say this? I was indifferent on who would start, Trey or Herb, but I'll let Lito then go 5. If Trey's going to start, or if Herb's going to start, they have to rebound the ball better, both of them. So if Trey's going to start, he's going to have to use that 6'9", 6'10" frame, be aggressive, go get rebounds. I understand why Herb doesn't do it as much because he's more on the perimeter guarding an elite, player like a Tatum or a Mitchell or Jamal Murray, etc. List goes on and on.
Yeah.
But if Trey's going to start, we all know defensively he needs to work defensively, but he's got to rebound better.
He does. I'm sure he's aware of that too. I just like to talk to you about his last 15.
Go ahead. Does this include OKC or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So 19 points a game, 3.5 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 2.3 combined steals and blocks. He only committed 12 turnovers during the stretch, and he made 41 free throws. He only missed 4 free throws, and he made 59 3-pointers since March 3rd. He was 59 for 128, shot 46%. I'm gonna go on record as saying that I believe that Trey is included. Trey is a member of that big three.
What's the big three?
It's Zion, Brandon, and Trey. I'm not slighting CJ because CJ is CJ, but I'm saying the vision of this team going forward should be you build around those three.
That's an interesting take.
So I do. I say stuff that's interesting.
Go ahead, Bob.
All right, a couple of different things. I think this team's best is going to look its best if CJ's the fourth option. That may sound crazy, but it's kind of to what Lito's saying. Like, Trey really has superstar potential. Like, you see what CJ is. I don't think CJ is going to get like astronomically better, but you see a guy like Trey Murphy with his ability, his athleticism, his ability to shoot the ball. I mean, if his handle gets decently better, I mean, it may be Rap City. I mean, especially playing alongside Zion. So good luck guarding a guy like that can, pump fake you 1-2 dribbles and he's at the rim. I mean, what are we really missing here? When we talk about a guy like Trey Murphy, defensively, again, this team was 6th in defensive efficiency.
Which is crazy to think about. That is actually crazy to think about.
And they didn't make the playoffs. And if Trey rebounds the ball like slightly better, right? If he's what he's at, like I said it today, it was like 3 rebounds last season. Mm-hmm. If he gets to 7, which is really kind of a big jump, but he should be able to do that.
But we also talked about the other guy that needs a rebound, Zion Williamson. He needs that needs to go up as well.
Wait, when we talk about that, we talk about this point Zion thing. I necessarily don't love it, right? I like just Zion getting the rebound and then just going. Not really getting him in sets. Like, Zion doesn't need to, because that takes a lot out of you. You're talking about a guy that, loses a lot of energy. Why is he bringing the ball up every rip? Like, no, that's it spurts. He gets the rebound, he's just going. Yep. I think having the ball in Brandon's hands actually allows you to open things up more for Zion, and then allows Zion to just kind of be fluid in that. Like, he can play pretty much anywhere on the court rather than, there's specific places for him to play through. I don't know, man. There's so many attributes this team can get if they're healthy, right? But I'm tired of like the whole if thing. It's always an if when it comes to those, those two.
Chris, I'm gonna let you lead this one off.
Yeah.
So you talked about CJ. Would the right move be bench CJ, I guess turn Herb into your one and go Herb, Trey, Brandon, Zion 5? You know it's not going to happen. Like everyone that's viewing this, like you just know it's not going to happen. But is that a possibility? Is what I'm saying. Maybe this year.
I don't think,
bench.
Yeah, I don't think this year. I mean, I think it's one of the things that could make great sense. I mean, CJ being able to be the first dude off the bench, and us, knowing that. I mean, him just simply being able to run a second unit, I think could be an added weapon that this team could use easily. But I mean, we're still looking at how we think this all will operate through the lens of the 10 games that we saw and with the previous offensive system. Maybe in this system, and with CJ being healthy again, it looks completely different. I'm not sure. I would if I was in charge, I would get crazier than that, to be honest. We've been having all these questions about the center position, and you haven't been able to figure it out in 4 years. You're going on 5th year, you have not been able to figure out the center. Just say fuck it. Just start Herb and Trey, and the death lineup that we talk about, right? Make that your life lineup. Like, I mean, that's what I would do.
Put Zion at the 5.
Herb at the 5. However you look at it.
You just play positionless basketball then.
That's what I would do. We wouldn't even have to have this discussion. Just
okay. We're playing the Clippers. Who's guarding Zubac? If Zubac's on the team, who's guarding Zubac? Doesn't matter.
I don't care. If I lose because Zubac kicked my ass, I have bigger problems. Because look, and people gonna get in the comments and they're gonna say stupid shit like, well, what happens when you play Jokic? It don't matter who you got out there to play Jokic. Jokic's gonna be Jokic. Bro, when you play Embiid, it doesn't matter who's out there. He's Embiid. Like, so just like fuck it. Just go like the rebounding was consistently 9 times out of 10. Even though Brandon got better, but still had lows when it came to boxing out in certain situations. The team in the game rebounding needs to be better anyway. So if those guys don't rebound, if they don't get better, it's not going to matter if you have a center out there because Jonas can't get them all, especially if he's consistently in drop coverage, stopping at the free throw line. And those misses that go either with alone misses, whatever the case may be, you're not going to be able. Like, I think we're overthinking this.
Ooh,
I would do. Make your death lineup your life lineup. Fuck it and figure it out.
Spaceman got some points.
Man, that boy on that astronaut.
What we're planning you on? But I feel like for me, I don't think that's such a crazy suggestion. Like, is
it sustainable for 82 games?
Is Point Zion sustainable for 82 games?
I agree with 5. I don't like Point Zion. I like Zion and Point Zion in certain situations, but that's a conversation.
Absolutely. It's a specialty type play. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay, well, Zion's clearly hadn't been healthy for 4 years. Do you expect him to go up against the Jokic's and the Plumlees and the so on and so forth, the Sabonises every single night? You don't think that'll be wear and tear? Listen, I like Chris's idea, but I'm just thinking, like literally thinking from a head coaching spot. Like, don't you think that would probably put some wear and tear on him? Unless, I mean, you're switching 1 through 5.
Well, wear. I mean, he's got to get worn to get wear.
I'm just going off of that. I don't think that it's sustainable.
That wasn't crazy.
I don't think it's sustainable for 82 games.
I don't.
Even though it does make sense.
What is sustainable for 82 games? We got guys that can't play 30 games.
What's sustainable for 50
We just gotta stay
games?
healthy.
Yeah, right. Why are we thinking that far along? Like, what?
We're trying to just get past 12.
He played 28 games.
He played
28 games.
29. All right?
He played 29 games.
Like,
So,
okay.
so was that where? Did he get like?
Fuck me. Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, Jared. I'm sorry.
I got headphones on. He can't.
Go ahead, Fire. What you got?
Yo, I think it's like he has to play. We've always talked about Trey being the 5, like this thing that started in our minds. Like if Trey was able to, play the 5 and rebound and be the trailer. Imagine Trey Murphy as your trailer. Like, and then it's a pick and roll between him and Zion, him and Brandon, him and CJ at the top of the key with the floor space wide. Like, there's so many options here. Can I say one thing? This is totally off topic, and it's kind of been pissing me off all day. People keep talking about Jordan Hawkins, and this is kind of my thing. Jordan Hawkins, everybody keeps comparing him to Devontae Graham. You know what's crazy? Devontae Graham's best season was in Charlotte. I think it was like 2019 to 2020, and he averaged 18 points a game. Guess who was his coach?
Borrego.
It's cool. It's cool. If that's who, okay, it's possible. But it's okay. It's okay. You guys suck. You don't know what you're talking about.
I saw you got a little Twitter spat today, Jared. You wasted time on it. It was a beautiful Sunday.
No, man, because they don't know what they're talking about. Like, what? You'll get mad at a kid that he shot open shots and missed? Like, no, bump all that.
Somebody.
Yeah, bump all that. Now,
ahead,
this team. Go ahead, Lito.
No.
Oh, I didn't know you were going.
Finish the point.
It's cool. Like, all right, we just need to have, like Chris said, start with them, finish with them. Cool. If it's Herb, CJ, Brandon, Zion, and Trey, like, are you really upset about that? Like, you couldn't rebound the ball with Jonas putting up 20 rebound games. I think your rebounding identity needs to change. Like, you need to gang rebound. Maybe then Trey Murphy wouldn't have to be number 1, 2, or 3 in transition efficiency because he doesn't get the ball in a half-court offense. So that all kind of plays into one another. Be better rebounding. That means your defensive efficiency probably goes up because you're not allowing second chance points that you allow anyway. Yeah,
fair.
I mean, you can't rebound with a great rebounder on the floor, and you're not a good defensive team with one of the best perimeter defenders on the floor either. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? But here's the thing. To Chris's point, yeah, I feel like eventually CJ should move to the 6-man role, and I think CJ will flourish there. I think if you look at CJ last season, right? Again, I said this point a couple weeks ago. Some would say he had a down season because of whatever reason, right? Injury, he didn't play well in the playing game. However you want to slice it, I feel like he had a solid season. Like I feel like he caught a lot of flack for 1-14 not being on the floor when he was supposed to be on the floor. So you're asking a 33-year-old basketball player to overextend himself and do more than what he came here to do. Now, with that being said, if you did move CJ to the 6-man, like, he could literally come in a game. He could come in a game and he could exploit the second team defense that he's probably going to be facing. And who's the let's say when he comes in the game, Jaden McDaniels is on him as a starter, right? When he's coming in as a 6-man, I don't know, let's say, I'm just throwing a name out. The campaign is the guy who's going to be guarding him, right? He could eat. Like, he could have the defense at his mercy, and he can hunt for his shots instead of trying to get it in the flow of the offense with Brandon, Zion, Trey, because they don't pass Jonas the ball anyway. So you could essentially, it would be a better move for him. He could be 5's guy, Jamal Crawford, right? He could literally just come in and shot hunt.
And he wouldn't have to dribble the ball because he'd be with Jose.
I didn't think about that.
Like,
here's the main thing with this before we get to the next segment is, to me, and I think all y'all make great points. To me, though, I don't care who starts. All I care about is who finishes. Because no matter what, as long as Trey's getting 25, 30 minutes a night, and so is Herb, and so is CJ, like, I don't care who really starts. But I know it's like a big thing, like it's like a big conversation and debate, because I think eventually you do have to have that discussion of, well, who's going to start? And y'all make valid points. And And before we get into the next segment, podcast presented by Chris Smith of Latter Blum is one of the top realtors in New Orleans. For free marketing valuation of your property, to book a property tour or to talk real estate, give them a call at 504-231-2004. Chris, closing lineups. Someone tweeted at me the other day, and it actually made me think about it. But I think in the closing lineup, I don't know how I thought Dyson had a nice summer. I don't know what he's going to be like in October. But could Dyson Daniels possibly be in that closing lineup? And who? That's a yes or no question. And then if not, yes or no, whoever, it doesn't matter. Who is your closing lineup? Because that's where I think y'all's death lineup comes into play. Because that's five is nasty.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that Dyson, I think, is closing, let's say, with the team is healthy. I mean, the person that would probably be sacrificed would be CJ. If you're, because then it would be Dyson, Dyson, BI, Trey, Herb, Zion, right?
I would say it'd be Herb, to be honest with you.
Oh, you said Herb would be the one sitting?
No, I would think, like, just going off, like, you're saying sacrifice, I think Herb would actually move to the bench and Dyson would then go, because you would think Dyson's a better rebounder. Now, shooter, I mean, take your pick, but I don't think you can have Dyson and Herb on the floor at the same time in your closing lineup.
I understand. Yeah. I'm just, that's the only kind of setup that would make that I could see. But I get what you're saying. I mean, I get what I mean. It would have to be, but to me, I mean, that's you're getting minimal returns on your investments there. I mean, because how are you using? Like, we know Herb's a really good slot cutter.
Really
we know in the corner. Like, I mean, we've seen Herb in a lot of these situations. He hasn't made all the different clutch shots, but he's been put in situations throughout in his time in New Orleans to where
he's made clutch free throws, unlike Dyson Daniels.
Yes, clutch free throws. We've seen him make clutch shots defensively. I think that was unnecessary. I mean,
why was that? That was not a shot. Literally, like, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but he was two big free throws again today. Like,
no, he did. That's something that he has to get cleaned up. But yeah,
that was good.
But the death lineup, the closing lineup is the one that we talked about already. It's
so you'd start and close with that lineup.
I would.
Okay. Lito?
I don't see the harm, honestly.
What'd you say?
I said I don't see the harm for anything that people say that you be sacrificing, whether it be rebounding, or whatever the case may be. I think that you're missing what you gain, like this, how switchable you are defensively. The fact that you're able to just be more creative with a lot of your looks. You can truthfully play 5 out and have five individuals on the floor that all have some sort of dribbling capability to some perspective, from some perspective, some type of threat, even if it's not. I just that would it just makes the most sense for me. And you would have to, of course, figure out the rebounding. But like Five said, you got to figure that out. You have issues to address there, regardless. So just, and your pick and roll defense would be so much better. Like, it would be extremely better than what we've seen in some respects with Jonas on the floor. I mean, I know you probably be questioning at that point what happens with Larry, but
that was my next question.
Yeah.
Justin Jermaine Napoli. Are you tripping over?
It's Anthony, first off.
Jermaine rang off better. Have you? So you tripping over free throws missed in July?
No, wait. Well, hold up. I've seen Herb Jones in a playing game to go to the playoffs against the Clippers knock down 2 free throws to ice the game. I've seen Dyson Daniels, and I know he's 19 years old, in game 15 in LA, shit the bed, missed 2 free throws today. Game on the line, shit the bed. Like, these are actual fact. Like, that's an actual fact.
Hey, who didn't guard the shooter in LA though?
That was Trey Murphy, right? 5. It was Trey Murphy, but also, I think the coaching staff, and I think they also are at fault as well.
All right, Jermaine. Listen,
Jermaine is insane.
Listen. I feel like. Let me preface my statement with saying this. I feel like if the coaching staff is gonna be experimental and make changes and just kind of like diversify the lineup and do different things, I really don't like. I'm interested to see it. I for me, that's a good sign instead of doing the same thing.
See
and seeing
what?
it not working.
See what?
Like mixing up the closing lineup, the starting lineup, like seeing what gets you a rhythm. Like what lineup gives your team some energy, or what lineup is being effective, or whatever. The thing with Dyson is, I feel like I I feel like Dyson is the second best rebounder on the team.
Go ahead.
I feel like
It's crazy, Chris. This is crazy. The switch up is insane off of 1 week. But go ahead.
That's crazy.
I was saying I was sold.
That's
What y'all want me to do? Like y'all acting like the people in the comments. You holding me to my last year shit. Like you know what I'm saying? You want my old shit? Go buy the old
You
album.
just said summer league, and now you're going off of a summer league. Now you're bought in on Dyson Daniels.
I'm just saying, like Chris raised valid points. You know what I'm saying? My brother Chris, he raised some valid points, and you know what I'm saying? I did the work, I did the mathematics, and I came back and I said, you know what? I believe.
Okay. So who's your closing lineup then?
You can't have Dyson and Herb on the floor at the same time, though. I would like to say that. Like I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't see that being a successful lineup, because you still have to have shooting. I feel like you can have one of those guys, but you can't do both of them, right? Pause. I feel like
I was gonna say it too.
nah, man, like you can't catch a player slipping. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you can't slick a can of oil. So this is the thing. This is the thing, right? For me, if we going Herb, we
I wish we had a solo camera for you, because I'm not gonna be able to hold it. Like I'm not gonna be able to. Like I'm like.
I just looked at 5.
What kind of
I don't even know
shit we on here, man?
You gotta go.
All right. So, all right. Brandon Zion. You asking me my starting 5, right? I mean, my closing
five.
Brandon Zion. I'm going to say Trey. Yeah, I'm going to say Trey, Herb.
And whoever, I guess.
Whoever the starting center go be.
We can say CJ. Brandon, Herb, Zion, Trey. With CJ. CJ's got to be in your closing lineup.
Yeah, no, he was. No, I thought I said him. That's why I was.
I like that. Listen, I like that closing 5. The biggest thing to that, though, Jared, is rebounding. And defensively, I guess the question would be, well, who would guard? And this is towards Chris, what he said earlier, but like who's going to guard Jokic? Who's going to guard Embiid? Who's going to guard
nobody?
Nobody on earth can. So it goes back to, though, Jared, can that closing 5 of what Lito said, or even what Chris said, can they actually rebound? Can they actually gang rebound and get stops on that side of the floor? Because offensively, they're going to be hard to stop. But we all know winning games, when it comes down to crunch time, you got to get stops on the defensive end. Oh, is Jared frozen? That's why. Jared was like staring at me. Maybe Jared's frozen. Chris, I'll let you go. I'll let you have that. I love the Sunday show, man. This is great stuff.
Can they rebound?
Yeah, can they actually rebound? In theory, that lineup's great, but can they actually execute?
Yeah, I mean, I think the coaching staff, and I think Borrego specifically, is like they're going to emphasize how important that is from Herb, and you know what, down the stretch is like didn't we see Herb have a few really good rebounding games?
Herb guarded. Who did he guard down the stretch? I was like, it's like, who did we play? He handled him pretty well. Pause.
Good job.
Good catch.
I forget who it was, but he guarded a 5. I thought he did pretty good on it. It was something like a Jokic, but one Jokic. God, who was it? Go ahead though, Chris.
I don't think you can definitely either in either direction say either they can or can't do it, right? Trey Murphy's his first season, and we're talking the end of that year, going into the playoff series with the Suns. He looked like a decent rebounder. He was really attacking the glass. And they needed it after losing a guy like Josh Hart. I've seen Brandon get some clutch rebounds. I've seen Zion get some clutch rebounds, right? I watched them play, I think it was Oklahoma City, and down the stretch, Zion was at the 5, and he grabbed a couple clutch rebounds. CJ's improved as a rebounder last year. So I think individually they've gotten better. They have to find a way to put it together. We've seen it in flashes, but we haven't seen enough. Trey wasn't good enough on the boys last year, but I expect the coaching staff to make that a big emphasis for all of these guys. Yo, this if this is gonna work, regardless who's gonna be the center, death lineup or not, everybody has to be a better rebounding team, and then we'll have so many more opportunities to do what everyone loves to do, which is score the basketball. I also want to follow with this, Justin.
Yes.
We talk about when people talk about what works best for Zion and Brandon, or even just when one is out and the other one's on the floor, we always talk about, well, they need spacing and shooting. Leaving your best spacer and shooter on the bench makes zero sense. Zion needs shooting. Brandon needs shooting. We've seen boxing one defenses. We've seen Zion's different. He's gonna have 5 people on him at all times, of 5 defenders looking at him at the moment he steps on the floor. But it's crazy that people talk about, well, they need better shooting, they need better spacing, and you want to leave your best shooter and spacer on the bench. When, bro, how many games did we see even when Zion was healthy and they had that run to where the starting, like, it took the bench to enter the game to really change things. Y'all remember how many games we had to wait for Jose to get on the floor for things to really take off?
Yep. So put yourself, that's a really good point, Chris, because I love taking this exercise. So when I'm scouting an opponent, I also like to take into account, like, how would they scout us, right? And so it's very easy as an opponent, right? So say we're the Pelicans, they're scouting us. Yeah, just leave Herb Jones or Dyson Daniels in the corner, focus everything on Zion. Now you put Trey in the corner, it's like, shit, all right, well, we can't leave Trey. You got CJ up there, you got Brandon Ingram here, and then you have Zion with the ball. There's just a lot of different variables, and it's a lot of different thinking. So when y'all say put Trey in, and what Chris is saying, your best shooter, your best spacer, not only is that your best opportunity to score, but also puts a lot of pressure on the defense and also the coaching staff spending time talking about schemes. It takes a lot of energy just to focus on Trey Murphy when he's in the game. It's so easy to be like, all right, like just what you said, Chris. Zubac beats us, he beats us. Well, all right, it's the same thing the coaches say. If Herb Jones beats us, he beats us.
I'd like to say that playing Herb Jones, he put up 20 points a game. That's all. That's what I have to say about that. And the other thing I have to say, and he attempted 5 threes. Here's the thing: the offensive if the offensive philosophy is put Herb in the corner, leave Herb in the corner, you already failed.
Right.
If you failed Herb, you failed the team.
Right.
The philosophy should be get Herb in motion, get him in action, get Herb to force the action, and then have his defender have to make a decision on, is he going to go with Herb on a roll? Is Herb going to flatten out to the corner? Or is Herb going to pop out back to where the original man was, right? Because then at that point, you get to decide. Let's say Brandon has the ball. He gets to decide which way or how to attack, because everything is in front of him at that point.
And that's where you saw Brandon flourish. Like his last 15 games, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but he had 13 assists, 10 assists, 13, 10, 7, 9, 8. Like, go ahead. But
so Herb, I feel like all of us have been begging for Herb to take on just a little bit of the Draymond Green role, right? Like, I feel like if you put the ball in the guy's hands who has been a point guard primarily his whole career, it's not like you giving Herb the ball and you're saying, figure out how to do this. He has the experience. He has a foundation in doing it. So it's not foreign to him. And we go back to this play, the play where you gave the ball to Jackson Hayes at the top of the key, and you were counting on him to make the entry pass to a cutting Trey Murphy. Jackson did not have the wherewithal because he's never been in that situation before to do that. You don't know the nuances of things if this is your first time doing the thing. You don't know how this is going to work, right?
Right.
All right. So you put a guy in that position in Herb, who not only he was a high school point guard, he was the point forward in college. Right. He was a point guard on the team where Kyle Lewis was the point guard.
4-year guy too.
So you take that information and you can literally, I feel good about Borrego because I think he's going to take advantage of that. You got guys on your team who have skill. Like Herb might not be a shooter, right? But Herb is rangy. He's sneaky, springy. He can finish at or around the rim. And let's just say he puts pressure on the defense, right? Zion might get the rebound. JV might get the rebound. Hell, Trey might get the rebound, right? Because at that moment, all the action is going the opposite way. You turn that weak side guy is going to help. Somebody's got to help the helper.
And that's where you get most defenses when you break them down.
Yeah.
Also, Chris, we've also been hearing that Borrego's already been meeting with individuals, including Trey Murphy. You have to take into account that a Borrego is going to make this offense better. It was bad last year, and there were points where, and I get it, Zion's missing time, Brandon's missing time, and stay healthy, things like that. But there was never an identity, right? If there's an identity moving forward with this group, how good can this offense be? We just named all the talent. It's not like Herb Jones is a shitty player. He's a really good player. He can score. He averaged 10 points last year. Like, people are sleeping on that. He averaged double digits last year as a sixth option on the team. What do you think Borrego can do for this offense?
He can help. He can help organize them. He can help. I think he can help make. He can break some structure, some sense of structure and principles that, even if we're talking about a team, which I think a team that has missed so much time with playing together, they kind of need, right? They need things to be able to fall back on because they don't have years and for the starting lineup we're talking about, they only have 10 games of playing together, right? I mean, that's crazy. Like, Herb Jones has played 30 games with Zion? Like, total.
Yeah.
No, 29 technically. Well, jeez. No, because Herb missed 4 or 5 games. He got hurt early in the year.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not just 20 something.
Yeah, it's not just the starting lineup. It's a lot of your impactful players that haven't played with a lot of different players that are, that are going to be essential in your progress. So you bring in an offensive coordinator of sorts, or someone who has principles, things that he's known for, things that you can fall back on. That's also going to magnify the strengths of your best players. Who's not going to like that? How can that not make you better? And I think it's like for a rookie quarterback, look, I mean, a lot of times, they tell them, yo, man, just focus on these 2 reads.
Yeah.
And that don't work. Check down, run, throw it away. And then you slowly start to build confidence. You slowly start to build that chemistry, because, man, we watched when this team was healthy. It wasn't many games, but I watched them go out against Trailblazers and the Golden State Warriors and just look unorganized and not know what they were doing offensively, not knowing how to get the best out of each other. They just didn't. Zion's in the post. JV's in the dunking spot. Brandon has the ball trying to get to the area. It's a fucking mess. Yeah. It's a fucking mess. It's a mess. Like that. I think getting Borrego in, who has a chance to, who's seen what this team has looked like from the outside. Now he gets a chance to talk to some of these players directly and put together a vision that's just going to help and simplify things for a group of individuals that just don't have a bunch of experience playing together, but have the talent that can go who knows how far.
I agree with everything you just said. I like the point he just made about rookie quarterbacks, because I think when you get to a professional level, I watched this with, I'm going to just stick with football. I've watched this with Sean Payton, where I feel like Sean at some point always wanted to prove he was the smartest guy in the room. And the simple play would be right there, but we're going to run a double reverse on 3rd and 1 just to get the people going. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like basketball is the same way. Yo, like, you don't got to oversimplify this. The game is so simple. You literally take advantage of mismatches. You take advantage of the mismatch. It's not there, reset it. You got you got a mismatch or you want to create a mismatch, set a pick for him. You know what I'm saying? Like you literally can make the game as simple as you want the game to be. The game is nobody wants to guard multiple actions. Nobody wants to guard multiple actions. Justin's moving this way, Chris is moving this way. We setting back picks, we cutting around, we coming back to the corner. Like, dog, nobody wants to guard that. If you're gonna make it easy for guys to guard and have them standing flat foot stationary on the perimeter, who especially a guy who is that's not his best skill, dog, you're gonna make yourself so easy to guard. And you saw that. That's what happened. Oh man, go ahead, do your thing. I'm gonna turn my back to you. But if you turn around and you have that guy, like you saw Trey, Herb, let's say the last 2 months for Herb, I feel like he had a slow start to the season. I feel like he turned it around. He played much better. I'm saying too much, but it started before that. But I feel like in the last 2 months, he really shined. Herb found his confidence. Basketball is a thing. We talk about Dyson, right? Basketball is all about confidence. Life is all about confidence. Like, if you don't have the confidence in your abilities, you go get on there, you go look like shit. Same way with the coaching staff, right? If the communication is breaking down, what we worked on isn't working, and we just standing there at that point. Like Chris said with the Golden State game, right? You got two large human beings double parked in the same spot. They just standing there, like, and nobody's correcting. There was no, like, even on the coaching staff's part, right? There wasn't a time. Hey, look, come here. Let's fix this. Let's get guys in the right spot. I feel like having Borrego on the staff is going to help with that. But also, I'm gonna shoot Willie some bail. I feel like a third-year Willie Green is gonna be comfortable in his position of no, I don't like that. No, let's do this. Let's do this another way. And I'm really happy. I know we talked about this, but I'm really happy Willie he's getting to pick who he wants. I'm really happy about that. The last thing for me is they just got to iron out the center situation. I feel what Chris is saying, but I do think you need a primary big at some point just to take the brunt of punishment, because it's going to be guys who you run into. You know, again, nobody's going to guard Embiid. Nobody's going to guard Jokic. Hell, nobody go guard.
Yeah, Cody Zeller.
I mean, look.
If you're talking about like taking the brunt of it, I'm not saying Cody Zeller's a star.
Huh? You still have Jonas. Like
yeah, you do have Jonas.
At that point, Jonas is your sixth.
Oh, that's crazy. Why
Jonas is 6 minutes?
Jonas not here. Like, that's crazy.
I saw a stat earlier today. I don't know exactly. It was post up plus field goal percentage. And I think Jonas Valanciunas was fourth in the league, only trailing Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid. Like, the guy's a top 10 center in the league, and we're acting like he's shit.
I wish I could say I'm shocked. Like, I wish I could say that was a shocking stat to me.
Hey, they don't get him the ball. I mean, hell, maybe if Jonas is still on this team by the time the season starts, maybe Borrego is Jonas's best friend. Maybe that helps him get the basketball more. Maybe just simply taking advantage of the right matchup, the right play, running shit back consistently if it's working, picking on weaker defenders consistently over and over versus just ISO ball and just lack of creativity. Like, that's I mean, it's just a little bit more creativity in this offense is extremely better. No matter who's out there, if your main three guys are even without them, like even without Zion, with CJ with 8 fingers and one shoulder, and Brandon Ingram and Trey, that offense still should have looked better than it did.
We talk, and y'all both make great points, because I talk about this all the time. It's so easy. Anybody can guard somebody that's stationary. I could guard Herb Jones if he's standing there. What made Herb Jones so much better is that you saw him more at the top of the key and then also slot cutting. And I feel like Borrego, these are just simple adjustments. These aren't like, I don't need the triangle offense or what the Warriors run or whatever they do. it's space and pace. And that's what I think Borrego, it's nonstop movement. And that's what we didn't have last year. It was always, Herb and whoever stay in the corner and let Zion, Brandon, CJ go. And I feel like Borrego is going to bring just a different, just a different element to that because they have talent.
Yeah. And look, I'm not trying to make Borrego out to be the savior here. Because I don't think any one person is capable of fixing an entire situation. But I'll say this: you got guys who were in a system last year, and for a large part of it, because 1 and 14 were out for a lot of the time. For a large part of it, the system was a cluster. The whole thing was it was a cluster. No, you can see nobody knew what to do at certain points, especially when Jose got hurt, who was basically the only floor general on the team, right? It went back to ISO ball. And, ISO ball it does not win in the NBA. You can look at, I'm talking about the greatest seasons in NBA history. James Harden put up 60-point triple doubles with 20 assists and 15 rebounds, right? But in the grand scheme of things, when it's time to get to the business in the Western Conference semis or the Western Conference finals, you can't get past the great teams playing ISO ball. And I feel like the guys being in the system haven't been in those situations. Borrego is coming on, but they also gained experience because they saw the breakdowns. They saw where things didn't work. So now you see, all right, look, you can take that and you can put that in your mental Rolodex. All right, look, I saw this. I remember this. Let's throw a wrinkle in there. Let's try something different. And I think a lot of times we blame it on coaching, but like it's the guys on the floor too who have to step up and be the change also.
No, that's both y'all well said. Last time, Lala, can you bring up the best tweet of the week here, please?
Oh, mean tweets back.
Wow. Best tweet of the week. I'm gonna let you two both have this. Y'all got about 5 minutes. Chris Connor, chicken and waffle margarita on me when I get back to the city.
Wow.
Y'all two have had y'all's. I don't even know. Chris, you want to go first? Where did you see this? And there's actually a recipe. It's actually ruined Lito's last couple days.
That was the point. I don't want him to have many, as long as he doesn't have as long as his family's straight and he doesn't have any any traumatic experiences necessarily. I want him to have a bad day, like the worst day he can have, without it hurting him. Does that make sense? Like that's what I want. And things like that, I think, slowly make his days worse and worse. I saw it on Twitter. I haven't tried it, but no one knows that. You know what I mean? I haven't tried it. I mean, if I see it on the menu, I might give it a shot. But then I looked because there were actually people that were really interested in it, right? So I see it and I look online and there's a recipe for it. Now, Lito wants to act like he wouldn't try it. He wouldn't drink. Listen, Lito has put some disgusting liquor in his system for years and years now. Okay, we all had college days, right? You ever had Everclear?
Oh, I have.
You had Everclear, but you wouldn't try a chicken and margarita or a chicken and waffle margarita. You're a hypocrite.
Everclear was the first actually liquor I ever had in my life.
That's your problem. That's your problem. That's your problem. We finally figured out what your problem is. Why would you see? You shouldn't even feel comfortable telling people that.
No,
you shouldn't. You shouldn't feel comfortable.
Chris, the way you just delivered that was perfect.
Lie. Just lie.
Here's the thing.
No. Because how dare you? How dare you? Chastise me about this chicken and waffle margarita, and your first alcoholic beverage was Everclear, Windex cleaner.
But I was like 16.
That's no excuse, brother.
Hear me out.
You drive.
You when you know better, you do better, brother. With your velour do-rag on, there is no reason for you to be at your age drinking chicken and watermelon margaritas.
Chicken and waffle. You added watermelon for no reason.
Margaritas. And listen, I do want you to know that I have sent your Twitter account to the FBI, and they are getting the paperwork started to process you and get you out of this country. I don't know where they're sending you, but you are the biggest terrorist threat to America, and you no longer need to be here. All right. And frankly, for you to bring that to the timeline, I want you to know that was an attack on America. What is that shit? What is that? And why would you tell somebody when I get back to the city, chicken and margarita waffles on me? Why would you do that? That's
Chris,
a threat.
where was this at?
That's a threat, dog. That's a threat. That's not
I randomly saw it on Twitter. I don't know, bro.
Is it from the city? Is the chicken and
yeah, please tell us, because we need to get that business closed.
You don't want to try it.
I'm kind of
bro, I'm not.
If you randomly walk into a place and a chicken and waffle margarita was on the desk, you wouldn't try it.
You know what I'm gonna do?
Just turn it back.
You know what I'm gonna do? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna walk outside. FBI, we got him.
You gonna order? Nah.
You
gonna say, let me get that Everclear.
Chris, I will say this: we went to Yardbird in Vegas.
A great time. You had some of the spicy watermelon.
Fantastic. I couldn't feel my legs, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
We're not gonna. It was
all right.
Shout out Planet 13. Like, comment, and subscribe. Sunday's show presented to you by the Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Pro Pels Talk. Chris Connor, Five's lights actually just went out.
Damn.
It's fucking New Orleans, man. Dude, woke up Friday morning.
Yo, it's 1,800.
Power just shut out.
1,800 people don't have power right now.
Really?
I was watching it on the news before I came here. Yeah.
And Ross is on vacation. Unbelievable. Lido from studio, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Boot Crew Media and the NBA. We will see y'all this week. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.